Finished up the floor last night, so that means it's time to move on to the next thing. And in this case, it's more towards the back of the car. I mean, it's pretty much a continuation of the floor, but we got these back two pieces in here. You can see I just got them resting in there, once again from AMD, so huge thank you to them. You can see the part numbers for those pieces right there. And this is definitely a little more interesting than some of the floors I've done in the past, especially the one on the Duster. It's like a 3-piece, whereas a few that I've done are mainly just like a 1-piece tub floor, or for GM cars it's a whole different style. But at least for Mopar, I have not seen this before. I'm guessing this is how all the B bodies are, but yeah, should be pretty straightforward. The main thing I gotta do is trim back more of this lip right here, because this piece actually this piece will actually sit under the new rear seat piece, which you can see is right there. So in order to keep some structure in the car but also be able to put these in, I'm going to go ahead and trim back, I don't know, maybe about that far here, because then these will sit on this lip right here, and then the main seat piece or rear seat piece will go right on top of it there. Still debating what I'm going to do for frame rails. My original plan is, and what I'm still thinking, is replacing the entire rail, but realistically only about the back. I don't know, maybe foot or two are trashed, so I thought about sectioning in, you know, a new piece from like here back. The other side, it goes a little more far forward, pretty much until the start of the arch there. I know it wouldn't be the strongest, but I could obviously plate it on the side, brace it up. This car's probably going to end up with a cage and maybe some sort of bash bar or something in the rear. I'm not totally sure. So I wouldn't be too worried about it, and that might be the easier option to go with, especially since I don't have like a chassis tail or frame jig or something like that. So we'll see. Haven't totally made up my mind. Obviously, the ideal situation, the right way to do it, would probably just be replace both rails, especially since I'm going to be replacing the floor all the way throughout the way back. But just because, you know, we're in this right now, I might section it. I don't know. I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I don't really want to, because I know it's not the right way to do it, but I think I can make it work. We'll see. Don't have my mind made up. Anyway, I'm explaining that because I'm not going to weld this section, you know, like right here to the frame rail. I'll just get it all mocked up and situated. I'll still drill the holes for it, but I'm not going to weld it to it just quite yet, because I'm not sure exactly what I'm doing. All right, rear floor pieces are all prepped. You can see I got the holes all drilled out, went ahead, ground everything down, threw some weld through primer on it. Pretty simple, same process as the floor. Then went through and wire wheeled this entire back lip here, where those are going to get welded to, weld through primer. Same thing on the frame rails, cleaned those up, scuffed up the insides as best I could. Rust converter, and then paint it black. We got weld through primer on the edges out there. I'm doing this just in case I keep these rear frame rails. I'm not sure. I'm not going to weld any of that, but at least it'll all be prepped in case I do. And got the inner rockers all cleaned up with the wire wheel. I don't have an exact wire wheel, but I found these attachments. It's like a stripping disc for a angle grinder cutoff, and these things actually work pretty sweet. So I've just been using that to clean up all the metal and get everything prepped throughout the car. I like them so far, so it's time to get these things screwed in with the self-tappers, and then start fitting them up exactly, and then fill in all these spot welds here. Both sides are obviously all the way welded in, and I once again have a mess in here. And this side is pretty much finished, minus the spots on the frame rails, because like I mentioned before, I'm not going to weld those up because I'm not sure if I'm going to be using these rear rails. As you can see, I forgot that there and there. Yeah, I'll deal with that later. Anyway, I went through, grinded down every single weld, had to go through. Same thing I did of this floor here, you know, kind of go back, fill some, regrind them down to get everything smooth. But yeah, it's looking pretty good so far. This corner was by far the trickiest thing, getting this all situated, and then this down here. This down here doesn't look the prettiest just because I had to use a Dremel to get down there. And I don't have any discs to exactly smooth it out yet, so once I get the proper tooling, I can go through, clean that up a little bit. But I mean, it's pretty good for right now. Definitely could be better though. I'd like to get it looking like this, but from what we basically started with, you know, looking like something like that, to now looking like this, I'll take that. So got to do the same thing I just did on this side right here, on this side, and then just be one step closer to getting this rear section kind of wrapped up. Now that that is done, I'm going to go ahead and cut this out right here and make a piece for this. So from the factory, obviously these cars came with a lip over the top like this, and now if you're putting carpet over it, or if you're going for an exact restoration, this is exactly what you want. It's how AMD makes it, you know, not a problem, no issue with that. But since I plan on not having any carpet, I want to keep a smooth looking tunnel throughout the entire thing here. So my plan is, I don't really know. I'm going to cut out this center section here. Maybe it'll just be a flat piece in there. Maybe I'll have to put a bend on each side. And I'm going to try to go up to here. I'm going to stop about here because you can see this is going to be the lip in which this rear seat piece is going to sit on top of. So I'd like to keep that all situation, or that whole situation exact. But yeah, basically this whole strip coming up there, I think it's going to get cut out here and get replaced with the one piece. Got this piece all wrapped up now. That was a bit tricky. I did it not the ideal way, but I did it a way, which was, you know, get the piece tacked down, then move back and keep tacking until it gets bent to the shape here. That's not, I guess, the right way you want to do it, but with what I got, I feel like I made it work out pretty decent. Got it all welded up, grounded down. I ended up, yeah, going all the way to the back here, and then I kind of just caved down this to match this gap right here. And looking at it, the new panel only goes up to this piece anyway, so that'll work out. I gotta clean up this whole entire mess now. Gonna throw some primer on this thing and we'll see what it looks like, I guess, all completed. So there we have it. Rear floor pans are all the way welded in, minus the spots on the frame rails obviously, but I think I made up my mind. I'm gonna go ahead and replace those rails. It's the right way to do it, proper way to do it, so that'll be for a later date. But other than that, I mean, there's not much to these things. They're pretty simple, pretty straightforward. AMD makes them super easy to get it all fitted up and in place there. The only thing that took time was just me being picky, going through with the spot welds, getting everything smooth, getting those corners smooth. But I think that definitely paid off, and at least in my opinion it did. That top of the tunnel now definitely looks a lot better. Once again, nothing wrong with the way that they did it from the factory or the way that AMD, you know, remakes it. They made it just like the factory, and if I would have did it with the seam down there, sure, it would have fit up perfectly. I just kind of like the whole smooth look, and I think with kind of my plans for the interior here, I think it's definitely gonna look good, and just something that just won't bother me, just because that's the way I am, I guess. I don't really know what else to say about that. Other than that, yeah, pretty simple, straightforward. It's done, and on to the next project. I'm just happy to finally see this all as one piece here. That looks good. Now that the floor is all the way in, and I finally got some structure back in this thing, I was able to take out the cross bracing and everything, which feels good because it's finally open in here and everything, which I like. I dig it. So the next step is to start tearing this thing apart. You'll see why later in this video. But plan of attack for tonight is throw this thing up on jack stands in the rear here and hopefully get the rear end with the leaves and everything out. I'm gonna try to do it the right way, take everything off with nuts and bolts or what's left of them, but I have a feeling I'm gonna end up just pretty much cutting through everything. So let's get to it. Everything is unbolted. 7 out of the 8 front shackle bolts snapped, which was freaking sweet because that means I didn't have to take them all the way off. There's one thread sticking through on this side. I hope that doesn't get the rear end caught up here, but okay. Yeah, that sucked. Time to get this junk out of here. Kidding me? Are you kidding me? One more line. How am I missing these? Wouldn't wanna scratch up any of the body panels, you know? These body panels are very rare and worth a lot. Sturdy as can be. Okay, one final. Oh. Voila, freaking mint. Now that pretty much everything is out of the back here, you can really see what's left or what's not there. I mean, not a whole lot left. Obviously, you got a whole new one-piece floor pan from AMD. You got the rear seat piece as well. Got their trunk floor extensions, but underneath, you can see the rear frame rails are pretty chewed up. So that's by far going to be the trickiest thing, is replacing these rails. This side is pretty bad as well. All the way back here. It even goes up to that point right there. So like I mentioned earlier in this video, I could, patch those in or do a second section. It wouldn't be as strong, and seeing how bad that spot is really up there kind of makes my decision of doing the full rails. That's the right way to go about it. But one thing I am happy and pretty excited about are these brackets right here, because if I can keep these, that'll allow me to line up my new rails with them. That way I'll know they're in the same spots, and those are a pretty big structural piece there. So once I can wire wheel it down and kind of see up in this area, where it's connected to the rocker and how strong that is, then I'll make my final decision if I'm going to keep these or if I end up having to replace them, because the rocker right there is pretty weak. I don't know if that's going to come across on camera as good as it does in person here, but that is what's getting me excited for this car. Oh my god. It probably won't be on these wheels. Might be one similar. I don't know. I got a couple options. But dude, this thing, it's going to be lower than that too. Just a couple inches above the ground. Freaking all the way out to the quarter. You don't even need a wide body on this thing. I mean, freaking best body lines from the factory ever. It's already got a wide body. Tires all the way out to the quarter. Oh, that is going to look sick, especially once it's mini tubbed and everything. Oh my god, this is gonna be sick when it's done. I'm freaking, oh my god, I'm so excited for that. Yes. All right, I'm in here editing this video, and there's a few things that I want to clarify and just go over before I end it off. So first things first, might get a few questions on this. I don't know, I just want to get it out there for you guys to be able to hear. I will be keeping the 8 3/4 unless something changes plan wise. The only thing that I would change it to is a 9-inch, but I mean 8 3/4 is a pretty stronger end, pretty beefy. It is an open diff right now. It'll get a posi unit, bigger axles. That's the plan. My plan also for that is to go ahead and build a 4-link setup off of it. So move the spring perches in, notch the new frame rails, and then build a 4-link off of that. I have no clue how to do that. I'm going to have to do my research and homework. That is a couple months down the line there. I'm going to focus on the rest of the sheet metal work right now, but that is the plan just going forward. In case anyone had any questions on that, was getting some questions on Instagram over the past few days. So there's that. And one other thing I just want to go over really quick was kind of about the floors here. I know this was at the beginning of the video, but I do plan on running a bead of seam sealer around everything. And instead of just brushing on there, what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tape it off as thin as possible around the seams, and then I'll go ahead and lay the seam sealer all the way around it on those seams, so that'll look clean and flush as well. I've been thinking about that the past few days, how I want to go about that, but that is farther down the line. Like I've mentioned in like I mentioned in previous videos multiple times, once all the sheet metal work is done on this thing, it's gonna go off to either get blasted or soda blasted or acid dipped. I don't even know what I want to do yet, what the best option is. I gotta figure that out, but that'll probably be in a couple months as well. So just keep on keeping on. Appreciate everyone's support as always. The freaking comments over the last few videos are so awesome to see pop up and be able to read through it. You guys keep me motivated on this thing, which is freaking sweet. So I appreciate that a ton. And as always, comments, concerns, questions, you know, constructive criticism, I don't care. Leave it down below. It helps everyone in this case here. So let me know what you guys want to see, and I'll try to make it happen.